When I was hired, this would have been in 1981, GI nematode problems were the #1 program for the Agricultural Research Service in terms of parasitic problems. That also corresponded to the time the macrocyclic lactones, ivermectin, first showed up on the scene. The general consensus of the administrators after 3 years were we no longer had a problem with GI nematodes because a cure has been found. Generally, what's happened is if you treat cattle at the labeled doses with a macrocyclic lactone, you no longer see the clearing of the worms that we got used to. Now we have multiple parasites involved, and the resistance or resilience or whatever you want to define it at continues to worsen. Every year we see more and more. And what is worrisome is that until recently, the most pathogenic worms were not as resistant or have not yet demonstrated the resistance. You have to use 2 drugs with different modes of action, different targets. By doing that, you greatly reduce the number of survivors because you apply the rate to each. So if it's a 95% efficient drug, you'd have 5 worms left out of 100. If you now apply 95% of that 5%, you're down to 1 worm or less per treatment. That's assuming those drugs act completely independently with no similar target. Refugia is a difficult concept to integrate into American cattle systems. Our systems are very much attuned to the idea of absolute maximum growth, maximum use of forages. The problem is that resistance appears much, much quicker if you do not maintain an adequate number of those wild type or susceptible parasites. You want to develop a system that you can dilute out some of the resistant parasites with susceptible parasites. An important place is the cow-calf operation because that's where all the animals are going to originally come from. Fortunately, you can manage refugia fairly easily there by applying treatments to the different classes. There's going to be at least 3 classes of cattle there: cows, replacement heifers, and calves. Those 3 classes require treatment, most effective treatment, at different times. By selectively treating, instead of going in and treating every animal on the farm, you can maintain refugia on each treatment because there'll be a group or groups not receiving the treatment.